Hello everyone, I'm Mike and welcome to this video from Mida Travel. This is part 4 of our first time cruises series of videos. Now today was going to be the last one and I was going to do everything else on the ship that we haven't already covered. But I have had so many questions about the embarkation process and also disembarking, and in particular a lot of questions about the Barbados immigration form. So what I'm going to do on today's video is we're going to look at the Barbados immigration form and go through as far as I can, show you it online. We're going to look at embarking and what these leaflets are that are given to you during the embarkation process. This is Your Adventure Starts Here. We've been given one of these on each one of our Marella Cruises. We'll go through that bit by bit. I've also got the disembarking one, which is a lot shorter, but again, it's really useful to know what you're going to find in these when you go to your cruise. Now, we will go through them, but don't worry if you miss anything or if you want to read them in full, because I will put them at the end of the video. Now, I am going to talk through the Marella Voyager, as it's the Caribbean season. We're going to look at that one first. Now, I have also got Marella's Explorers, which were for our Adriatic Explorer cruise in July. So I am going to video those and they will be available at the end of the video if you want to see those, to see what happens when you fly to Corfu for the Adriatic cruise. So here we go. Let's walk through the Barbados immigration procedure as far as we can anyway. So I'm on the travelform.gov.bb website. The link to this should be forwarded to you by TUI before you travel, and this form required to be completed and should be available 72 hours prior to your arrival in Barbados. So if we scroll down the form, remember if you're on the site and they ask for any money, you do not need to pay anything to get the immigration form. It says on here what you need. You need your flight information, a valid email address, and passport of the passengers that you are entering. So if we click on Get Started, we're asked to choose between creating a new one or search for an existing form. We want to create a new form, and we are then taken to this page. So we're not permanent address in Barbados, so we're a non-resident / visitor. When you click on that, it asks, how are you entering Barbados? We're obviously arriving by air, and then you will need to start filling in information such as your airline, your flight registration number, country of embarkation, port of embarkation, and your intended date of arrival. Now, I don't think I can go any further, unfortunately not, because I haven't got flight information to enter, but you will then go through each of these topics above. They're all fairly straightforward as long as you've got the information they've asked for. It's quite a lengthy, if I remember, health questionnaire, but then when you've completed it all at the end, you obviously click enter, and you are then given or sent this email to the email address that you gave. Now, I've taken out the obviously details at the top. Above Dear Traveller, you would have your name and a few details, but this is the text. Dear Traveller, you're one step closer to the sunny beaches of Barbados. Yay! Be sure to download and save the attached travel receipt for your records. You'll need to present it to the Barbados Immigrations and Customs when you arrive. We look forward to seeing you in Barbados. Many thanks, Team Barbados. Yay, another thing complete. So here is the form. Double click on it. I obviously save this email to take. I am also able to download this document to wallets as I have an Apple system. And I also tend to take a screenshot once I have it on my phone. So I've also got it in photos. So I've got 3 ways of keeping this form. Now, if I show you the completed form, if you bear with me, under here, this is the form that you will open. So Barbados immigration online form, and if we scroll down, it's got the date you completed it, the time you completed it. You will have your last name shown, your first name, date of birth and passport number. It will show where your port of embarkation was, your carrier name and your flight number. And again, it asks you to download and save this to a mobile device, or even print it, and I missed that one out. I also print a copy of these to take as well. I have heard people say that they've taken it and not been asked to present it, but guarantee if you don't do it and don't take it, you will be asked for it. And bearing in mind in Barbados, if you are going on the cruise, you are taken straight to the cruise port where you will sort of do your passport control there. So have it with you when you get there along with your passport, and you should be absolutely fine. Now, if you're going straight to a hotel for the first week, then you will probably need to have this ready at the airport in case you're asked for it. I hope that's helped with the immigration form. Certainly, I don't think there's too much for you to worry about on there. It's fairly straightforward, and I hope you found this portion useful. One of the other things that I've only learned this week is bonded luggage. Now, when you fly to anywhere for a cruise with Marella, if your luggage is shown as bonded, that means your luggage, you will say goodbye to it at the airport before you fly out, and you will not have to bother with it again. It will turn up in your cabin. One important caveat to that is that if you are not flying TUI, then you will need to ensure that if it's Virgin or BA, you will need to find out the instructions for what you need to do with your luggage. It may well be that you need to pick it up at the airport, the other end, but this should be made clear to you on the booking. And I should say that not every TUI flight will mean that your luggage will go straight to the ship. I always think the rule of thumb is you've got to check the luggage in when you go to your departure airport. So you might as well ask them as you're checking it in, you know, what do I have to do with the luggage? It's the most simple thing to do. Now let's talk about the other end. Now, when we went to Barbados, I was really surprised because we landed at Barbados airport, we came down the steps off the plane, and we were put in rows and were taken straight to the port side where we did the sort of whole passport procedure. Now, when you get there, you're taken into a hall and you will come to a desk where you will be issued your room cards. And at the same time, you will also be given one of these, which is Your Adventure Starts Here. And it is full of information that you need to know. Now, we will break these down and go through these bit by bit. I have already said before that when you turn up at the port side and the queues look really long, be rest assured that the queue will go down very quick. They have so many people doing the checking in. Now, the likelihood is if you fly to Europe for a Mediterranean, Adriatic or Aegean cruise, the likelihood is you will need to collect your luggage when you get to the destination airport. And then you will be directed, as you come out of passport control and customs, you will be directed to a coach where your luggage will be placed on there and you will travel to the port. I will just say at this point that mid-2025, there isn't an exact date yet, the Euro are bringing in, the European Union are bringing in a similar system to America, and it's going to be known as the ETIAS, and it is not a visa, it is a visa waiver, but we will obviously have to fill the form, ensure that we've got it. I'm not sure yet whether there's going to be a charge with it. I'm sure there will be, but I haven't seen details of what that will be yet. 2025 is the year if we're travelling to Europe and it's an EU country that we need to ensure that that ETIAS isn't yet required. Now let's start going through this leaflet. The first section is welcome on board, and obviously Marella welcome you on board. Suggest that you read this so that you get all the information that you need, and perfect time while you're queuing to go through passport and boarding, you can read this. Second, arriving at the port. Now it does explain there that if you've flown with TUI, your luggage will have been bonded unless told otherwise, and will go straight to your cabin. Now if you haven't flown with TUI, then obviously make sure that you did find out what you need to do, whether you need to collect it or whether yours will be bonded. The likelihood is you'll need to collect it. If that is the case, then ensure that your luggage label with your cabin number is still attached to it, because that is going to be quite important when you leave it for it to be taken aboard the ship. Very important, and something that every cruise company has to do by law, is the muster drill. Now on your card you will see we have the letter C. The letter here will show you your muster station. Now regarding muster drill, what you should do is go to your room. Once you've found your cabin, then watch the safety video, and then on here it will show you a time that you need to go and report to your muster station with your card, and you will need to check in. Now the muster stations are here, so we can see ours was C, so our muster station was the Art House. You can only do it within a certain hour, so you can't hang around, and you need to make sure you know what time it is so you don't miss it, otherwise they'll be chasing you up. Very quick process once you get there. They just check that you've reported there and everything's great. You'll be a lot safer. Right, moving on, we have Navigate. Now Navigate is the TUI app and can be accessed once you are on the ship. You cannot access it before. It is only available once you get on that ship. Now all you have to do is make sure that you are connected to Voyager on your Wi-Fi. You're not being charged for Wi-Fi or paying for it. You connect to Voyager on your Wi-Fi, and then in your preferred browser just type in Navigate TUI, and you will be taken straight to it. And then every time you log in, you should just go straight to the app. Now there's all sorts of things you can do on the app. Take a little bit of time to get used to it and find your way round. Moving on to reception. Reception's open 24 hours, so you can go and see somebody there at any time of the day or night. They can be contacted from the cabin by ringing 5555, and if you have a problem in the cabin, there is a number of ways you can report it. You've got a telephone in your cabin you can report. You've got the Navigate app. You can click on report an issue on there, and also you can go in person if needed. Right, let's move on to cabins. Now, for Barbados, they say that cabins will be ready by 3 p.m. And you should be able to access it then. If not, go to reception. There are a couple of important things that I think I should mention regarding the cabins. Firstly, remember to use the do not disturb signs and clean my room signs. Your sheets will not be changed for a 7-day cruise unless you ask them to be. Also, if you require a sharp or medical box, then ring reception and they will provide one for you. And they also state do not flush anything other than toilet paper down the toilet, as their system is very sensitive and things like face wipes are going to block it. Moving on, next we've got smoking. Be aware there are designated smoking and vaping areas all around the ship. This will list where these smoking areas are. Make sure that you don't smoke in your cabin because there will be a hefty fine if you are caught doing so. Moving on, we have quench your thirst. Now this is something that has only been brought to my attention this week, and that is filling up personal water bottles from the water machines, the ice cold water machines that are situated by the lift areas. Now, I can't remember seeing a sign on the water machine about not filling up your personal water bottles. But I have actually, now I've looked at this, seen that it does say, please do not do it for hygiene reasons. And it's asking you to use the carafe, which is in your room, in your cabin. Now, I suppose there's nothing to stop you filling the carafe and then filling your bottle. But obviously, we saw so many people, including us, filling up those. I think the fact that you have to pay for water, bottled water, you know, it's crucial that you have some way of keeping your water cold for your room overnight and also for when you go ashore. So there could be issues with you filling up if you are caught filling up your water bottle from the machine, but I think it's very unlikely that they will police this. And if you want to adhere to the rules, then fill your carafe and then fill your bottle up from the carafe, and that will keep everybody happy. Moving on, we have dining. I won't go to all the ins and outs of the dining. I will let you read that yourself. It just goes through the dress code for dinner, what dining there is, and different information, and similar for bars. Right, this one's quite important. Duty-free allowance. Obviously, they're telling you this so you don't go out and buy loads while you're on your cruise and then breach rules going back. So currently, you're allowed 1 litre of spirit, 200 cigarettes, 250 grams of tobacco, 50 cigars, cigarillos. All quantities are per person. So don't think you can stuff them in your hold luggage because it's bonded and going straight back. If it's found, it will be confiscated and you will be fined. Probably unlikely because I would imagine the exchange rates are really bad. But if you're going to look to exchange money on the ship, then be aware they will not accept a card. You will need to exchange cash. So take some British cash to exchange if you're likely to need some more money. You will not be able to exchange anything on a card on the ship. Well, I'm going to shift down a few more sections and go to guest experience. Now, there are two guest experience coordinators. Now, they are located on a desk which is tucked away by the Silver Fork restaurant. And if you're celebrating a special occasion, and a few people have asked me about that, go and speak to them and let them know what you're celebrating, and they may well be able to arrange something special for you. Also, if you're a solo traveller, then go and introduce yourself to them because they will arrange meets with other solo travellers, get together, drinks, etc. So quite important to know that they're there and what they do because they'll look after you. Swimming pools. Be aware that the pools are changed every morning with filtered seawater. So if you're diving in like I did the first time, no, sorry, you're not allowed to dive. If you're getting in the first time like I did, then make sure you keep your mouth shut, otherwise you're going to get a very, very salty mouth. Also be aware of the depths. I was quite surprised how deep the pools were. I think the second of two pools was 5'11" deep. So if you're someone that likes to stand and touch the bottom, make sure that you're aware of what the depth is. I will also say that children under 14 are not allowed to use the hot tubs. Apparently the heat and chemicals are not good for their skin. Also be aware that you read the rules for the swimming pools, which are displayed on the side. And my other little tip here would be make sure you take some sliders or flip-flops, because the surfaces around the pool can become very damp and slippy, so they are quite crucial. There are showers by the sides of the pools, so you can shower yourself off after you've been there. Right, I'm going to move on to the last one now, your onboard account. Now, we fell foul because at no time did we see anything where we had to register a card to our room, a credit card or debit card. And we had a letter come through on the second day saying, we'd like to remind you that you haven't yet visited reception to register a card, or alternative, you can place cash deposit to your account. And it's asking us to pass by and register a form of payment to make sure we're able to continue to spend on our account. So if you haven't, or you aren't aware of having registered any method of putting a card onto your cabin, then you are going to need to go to reception and do so. The other thing that with the cabin is they do not take any money out until the final day of your cruise. But be aware, because what they will do is, say if you spend £100 on the second day, they will ring fence it so that it's logged to your account, but it's not actually taken out. So be aware, if you're expecting money in to be paid the second week you're there, you could be running into problems. Right, let's move on to the time to say goodbye. Before we do though, I will just say regarding your account, you can keep an eye on your room account on the Navigate app. Do so because it isn't unknown for charges to be put on there twice, or for charges to be put on there that aren't yours. So make sure you check it. I always check ours on a daily basis. The last cruise we had, they did double book. We had to pay, or they'd taken 2 payments out for the Silver Fork, so it was quite a lot of money. So I'm glad we sort of checked it because we then had time to go to reception to get it sorted out. Moving on, let's have a look at the time to say goodbye leaflet. Now this will be delivered to your cabin along with your new luggage labels for the return journey home. Now it does advise you that your luggage will need to be outside your cabin by 2 a.m. Now bearing in mind, if you don't do this and your luggage isn't there, it won't be bonded, and apparently you are going to have to pay for a taxi to get it taken to the airport. So if you miss it, you are going to have to pay a fortune to get your luggage to the airport, and a lot more hassle. If you're not flying home with TUI, then you will be given different coloured luggage labels when this arrives. You will still put your luggage outside your room by 2 a.m. The difference is your luggage will be taken off the ship and left on port side, where you will then pick it up before you depart for the airport. Now, the other thing that you have to do is immigration and passport control. This starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. If you are going on an excursion on the day that you are flying home, then you will be one of the first people called to complete the passport and immigration procedure. What will happen is that at certain times of the day, and they do say don't go until you are called, you will have to go to latitude, or in our case it was latitude 53. They ask that one person from the party go. Not everybody needs to go, but that person needs to have all passports and all room cards. Don't be alarmed if there's a long queue. We had to walk halfway back along the ship for Dave to join the queue, but it does move quite quickly. You will then go through that procedure, and that is done once you have been through. They've scanned your passports. That's all out the way. So that has to be done. Even if you are staying in Barbados and going to a hotel, you still need to complete this procedure, but it is explained in here for you. If you are flying with TUI, then your boarding passes will be delivered to your cabin before you have to depart it, which is usually the night before. Now, if you haven't pre-booked your seats, they will have already been allocated and will be on that boarding pass. Regarding getting out your cabin, you will need to be out your cabin at 8:30 a.m. on the morning that you are disembarking. Now, obviously, the cabin crew have got so many to clean that there's no other choice but to get you out of there early. Now, on the Explorer, you can pay £45 to have a late checkout, I think from 9 till 4 p.m. That is not listed in the time to say goodbye booklet here, but it may well be worth, if you do want to keep your cabin, one of the flights that was leaving on here wasn't till 5 p.m, then it may well be worth going and having a word with reception and seeing whether you could keep your cabin and pay an extra charge for a late checkout. One final thing before you leave the cabin is to make sure that your 2 blue towels are there, because otherwise you will be charged £10 for each that is missing. Having left the cabin by 8:30, you don't want to be lugging all that hand luggage around with you all day, particularly if you have got a late departure. So you can go to the Squid and Anchor between 8 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon and leave your hand luggage there. It will be perfectly safe. If you do want blue towels and you want to use the pool, you can also collect blue towels from the Squid and Anchor, which I presume are then returned there as well. Right, I'm going to finish that there. On the back of here, we'll show all the flight times. These are also displayed around the ship on the big screens. Also as well, I think you will find the hotel, if you're going onto a hotel, you will find the hotel departures on there as well. I hope that's been useful to you. I will print those, I'm not going to print them, I'm going to video them and put them on the end of the video so that you can peruse them in your own time, read all the things that I haven't read out on there, and hopefully that will give you a much better idea of what to expect, not only when you're embarking, you're travelling and embarking, but when you're leaving the ship, you will know what to expect. So I hope it's been a big help to you. If you haven't already, can I please ask if this video has been useful to you, please hit the like button, consider subscribing and push the bell button for notifications of our future videos. And there will be a part 5, first time cruises, which will be all the other things on the ship. I shall go from top deck to bottom deck of things that I've missed out that probably you need to know or would be useful to know. So thanks very much for watching and hope we see you next time. Bye everyone.